Hello guys, how you all doing? I'm good myself, and yeah, yesterday I got this comment and I said I was gonna answer it, but I've been very busy. So it was asked about 21 hours ago. So it was a comment. This is a comment I got from one of the videos that I made yesterday. So the guy is asking me on how to identify the zone's support and resistance zone, and after identifying it, how do you draw it? And then after drawing that zone, let's say you've drawn 3 zones, then which one are you going to use and why are you picking that one? So that's the question that I got yesterday. So that's what I'm going to try and answer in this video. So the first part, which is identification, identifying the zone, that one is easy because remember, when you're talking about a zone can be, usually when I make my videos, I like giving an example with the support, but when you're going down, it will be resistance. So I'll just give an example with the support, or let me just give an example with the resistance for today, just for a change. So when the price is going down, for you to be able to know the zones or the area of resistance area, you can find it at the peak. That's the normal one. When you're going down, where we tend before going down, obviously there's a resistance there. If it pulls back, this is another peak. So the peak is just this. So where the price does this, you have resistance, you have got resistance. So that's where you can find that's how you identify the level. So in this case, I'm giving an example with resistance. So the identification, you'll find it at the peak, and then if we were going up, you'll find your support here, you'll find your support there, but that's just the normal level. But remember, sometimes when you're talking about a level or area or a zone, we just want the place where the price was just not decided. It was not, you see, if you're talking about this move like this, if it looks like this and all the bars they are going up, then it means there it was just in the hands of the bulls. So we don't have the bears fighting and stuff like that. But here you can see, here we were going, the bulls were in control. All of a sudden we do this, so you can see there's a exchange, like the sort of the power exchange there. Or sometimes, that's why the reason why I'm telling you about this is that you need to understand that where you are, for you to identify the level, you need to find an area where the power was just not in anyone's hands. So it was sort of in this guy's hands, now it's coming this way. So that's when you be like, okay, now I can see that here there's a level. So sometimes when you're going down, you can have the price going down with the nice bearish candlesticks, and then all of a sudden you have one bullish candlestick there, like a pause. So the market pauses there and then continues going down. You can see that the trend, in terms of the trend, nothing much has changed. We're still going up, but there was something happening here, something that we can't ignore, this, which is also another area where you can have your resistance. So that's how you identify. So to keep it short though, so for resistance, you just know that you have resistance there, you have resistance there. But if you have a pause and continue going down, this is also resistance. So it's not always a case that we have to pull back and go down like that, ne? But I'm just gonna mention that, but that's a story for another day. Let me not mention it. But when you're drawing your trend lines, we just want this. We can't use this to draw a trend line because it's gonna be too sharp, and we might have like a false breakout and take unnecessary loss. So when you're drawing your trend lines, we just want sort of a pullback. That's when you put your trend line. A pause alone, yes, it's an area of resistance, but we can't include it in our trend line. We want this. But yeah, that's how you identify your zone, my guy. And then now it comes to the second part of the question is how to draw your zone, right? So when you get to the top, still giving an example, when you're going down, so normally here at the top, so sometimes, remember, the structure won't always be the same. So but normally when the price gets to the top, what you will do is that you can just in this area, just identify your small candlesticks. So sometimes, yeah, small candlesticks. After identifying it, let's say candlesticks looks like this, the other one looks like that, and you feel like you want to include both of them so that at least your zone has like a it's thicker, it's thick, because if sometimes if it's too small like this, you might end up taking a loss. But when you have a zone that looks slightly bigger, then at least you know that you've got a room to play with, to plan your trades. So if let's say you conclude that both these candlesticks you're going to use them, so that's you did that in your first part of identifying that here I've got area of resistance. So now the second part will be how do I draw that area. So now you go there and say, okay, no, I can see these are the candlesticks that I want to use. So now how do I draw it? What you need to do is that in that very same area, this here in this area, you just need to mark the highest point there, which is this is the highest point, this. So this is where your zone is going to end. And then the lower part would be the if most of the time you'll be marking using one candlestick. So if in this case you decide to go with these two candlesticks, you mark the lowest part of the body. So the first candlestick, the body ends there. The second candlestick, the body ends there, which means my zone has to be like this. So that's how you'll be drawing your zone. Your zone is here. So that's your area of resistance. So, but most of the time you'll just be using one candlestick. We go up, that last candlestick or the tight one, you just mark the highest point and mark where its body ends. That's your resistance. So when you're going up, obviously you won't be marking the highest point, you'll be marking the lowest point. So when you're doing this and you want to do it here, you just mark the lowest point and then the highest part of the body. That's your support. So that's how you draw your level. So that's the second part of drawing. So now you are done identifying your level. So now it comes to your point, which one are you going to use and why? So this one, we can't have a straight answer to it, but what I can tell you is that at least that level that let's say you identify your levels, né? And let's say this is I'll say I have a support there, and then it goes up like that, and then this is my support. I would say the minimum that zone must give me, at least it must have the 2:1 risk to reward. At least it must have that, at least. So meaning that after we formed the zone, when you're going up, this part here, before we are coming back to test the zone, this must be at least double where I'm going to put my stop loss. So if this is 100 points, at least, or if my stop loss here is going to be at 50 points, at least the way it tend must be 100. Why are we doing that? Because now, remember the way we are trade, we say for you to move your stop loss to break even, at least wait for the price to move up by double what you are risking so that it has enough room. Then that's when you can move your stop loss to break even. So if in this case the price only moved 1.5 and then it comes back, but then we said we need 2:1 before you can move to break even. So what if the price, you take a buy and then the price, whatever that caused the price to 10 here, for causes it to 10 again? So it means you never had a chance to move to break even because of what that's 1:5 and you don't have the 2:1. So that's when you end up losing. But if let's say if when it's going up it gives you 2:1 and it comes back, you know that even if it finds another resistance at the same spot, that's 2:1, I've moved to break even, or I closed half, or whatever the case. So that's why we need 2:1. So after identifying your zones and marking them, the only ones that you're going to entertain are the ones that give you 2:1. So that's the minimum, or that's the minimum requirement that your zone must have. So, but it doesn't mean every zone that gives you 2:1 is going to be where you're going to trade it, which is the last part of the question. Which zone are you going to use and why? So the first reason why you're going to use that zone is because it has 2:1, but that alone is never enough. Remember how we trade here on this channel, we need more reasons on our side before we can execute. We can't just say we have 2:1, then we use that alone to execute it. That's not gonna work. So now with this part of the question, it doesn't have like a direct answer. The reason why I'm saying this is because remember, even in the case of the video that I made yesterday on the updated analysis of Nasdaq, where I said we are choosing that the lowest zone. The reasons was that the structure at that time was not smooth, and yeah, that's the main reason why we chose that one. But if the structure was smooth, then it means you will still pick the highest zone. Why? Because remember, you still need to do your time frame combination, your analysis on the different time frames. So just because a zone looks nice and it is how can I put this? Okay, let's do this. The first reason why we take that zone, it must give us at least 2:1. The second reason, trend line on that time frame where you drew your trend line, where you drew your zone, trend line must be intact. So if I marked support on H4, the H4, remember support we're thinking of buying, right? Which means bullish. So the bullish trend line and that time frame must be holding. So meaning when you're going up, I mark the support here and the trend line is here. The price must come back before breaking the trend line. So I can't mark this zone, even if it looks nice. But if the price comes back after breaking the trend line, I cannot take that. Why? Because we are no longer buying. The price, the structure is no longer bullish. So that's the second reason why you would pick a certain zone. And then a third reason, most of this stuff is going to depend on your analysis of different different time frames and the structure at the time. So but your trend line must be there, or even if the trend line is broken, the zone must be inside a higher time frame level. So what I mean by that, so this one is you only entertain it if your thing is broken. So what I mean by that is that, like yesterday, if let's say the price is coming down on H4 and then it moves up and then it reacts to daily support, and then when it moves up H4 it does this, and then it means now H4 is giving you a new trend line, and then you do have H4 level inside here. So even though the price is going to come back after breaking the H4 trend line, but the fact that this H4 is inside daily, and the daily trend line, we don't have a trend line, blah blah stuff. So you can take that level, but I can't take this one here. This one here, okay, then which color can I use? I can't take this level here. Why? Because it is not inside any, no. So the second, so it being inside another level, that's the second part. The first question should be, is the trend line intact? No, the trend line is intact. So only time I will entertain it is if it's inside a higher time frame, which is this part. That's why I wrote it like that. So the question that you're gonna ask first is the trend line intact? If yes, then you can go and trade it. But if not, then you'll be like, oh, then the level must be inside another zone. If not, then I'm not gonna touch it. So but even the structure, good people, it's another thing that you'll consider. Then you know that when all those reasons you put them together to say my higher time frame is saying this, and then on this time frame I have this, I have that, and then maybe you have engulfing, or that's why I'm saying this last part might not have like a straight answer, because the way zones form, the structure is different all the time. So depending on the structure, you will also have, but this is the minimum that you should have for that level. This is the minimum. The rest you'll just have to try and bring it all, some of the concepts that apply at the time, the ones that I told you, engulfing, or just like yesterday I gave you that one of the levels be on top of another level, then which one are you going to take? So if both of them are accurate, if both of them, let's say you're going up, we don't have a trend line yet, the price is moving very sharply, it's not giving us this to draw a trend line, so it's just going 10 and then up, pause, up, pause, up. Obviously you have a support here, you have a support there, both of them. If the price, everything is pointing up, I don't have a trend line, maybe my trend line is still there, I haven't had a chance to update it, because remember I'll only update it if I have a new this. So far I don't have it. Maybe then it still remains there. So if the price comes back, this is worth my attention, I can look to buy there. But just because it failed does not mean I can't buy from this, because it's also accurate, and it will be sort of in confluence with what, with the trend line. So it will be like the price now is coming to test the trend line, blah blah blah, and then yeah, even this one I gave it a chance because there's 2:1, and then it is formed above the trend line, and the structure, everything is pointing up. Though I can take that. If it fails, it fails, I'll shift to the next one, and then when I shift to the next one, I still want the 2:1, I still want the trend line intact. If not, then we are going to have higher time frame level. And yeah, so that's how you'll be doing it, my guy. Then if you do it like that, you'll be able to say, okay, this level I have to take, or this one I have to ignore. I hope I answered you. I hope but I'm happy with how you sort of phrased your question, because it's identification, which is the first part, drawing, and then which one to use. So even when you're trading or when you're doing your analysis, the first part is to identify area of support or area of resistance. After identifying that, you go move to the second part. How do you draw it? After drawing it, then now that I drew my areas, which one to use, then I'm happy with how you made everything flow there. So I hope this video is gonna help you with that. It's just that the last part, guys, it can't have like a straight answer. The structure is not always gonna be the same. So but the minimum thing you should have 2:1 trendline B holding. That's the minimum. Then you can just look for more reasons to put in your basket depending on the structure that you are having at the time. Then you execute. All right, that's it, guys. I'm gonna end it here, and then I think this is just gonna be the video that I'm making today, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, sharp.